But thank you so much for coming to this keynote presentation, the 81st Ethics Institute for the Knight Foundation and Washington and Lee University. And we have Bobby Carter, the host and series producer of the Tiny Desk Concerts. So give it up for Bobby. Here you go. One of the coolest guys to work with at NPR, and when I asked him if he would be willing to come here, got an automatic yes. Thank you so much, man.
Of course, man. Come on.
Already spoke to a class and captivated them with stories about the Tiny Desk, and so we're going to talk about that too. The numbers are just amazing. What are we talking? We're talking 40, an average of 40 million YouTube views.
Maybe
right?
up to 45, 50 at this point.
45 or 50 million YouTube views. How many? 10 million YouTube subscriptions.
12.5 million.
12.5 million YouTube subscriptions. For the Tiny Desk concert, you got more than 6,000 entries.
Yeah, a little over 6,000.
These numbers are incredible. I mean, the Tiny Desk has become a cultural force. And you know it's a cultural force when Saturday Night Live makes fun of you. So let's take a look at the Saturday Night Live version of the Tiny Desk versus what the Tiny Desks are actually like.
Hey! Tiny Desk! I know you're somebody. Everybody, let me hear you say party! Party! Cause we're about to party to a song that's called And For Me, Myself. Here we go. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Tell me, mirror, what is wrong?
Can it be my daylight clothes or is it just my daylight song? What I do ain't make believe. People say I sit and try. When it comes to being daylight soul,
And for me, myself, and
All right.
That's great.
So, on the one hand, it must be great to have Saturday Night Live make fun of you. It's shown that you've arrived.
Mm-hmm.
But that is kind of a stereotype of what the Tiny Desk
Listen,
is, right?
SNL, they like, I can pick a show in real life that they actually kind of nailed. So the way they did it, it was hilarious because they did mimic a few things that we've done in the past. My favorite part about the SNL sketch is that they sent us the cue cards from that sketch, and it's on the desk right behind the drummer. One of the cue cards is on the thing, so that was really cool.
So you added it to the history of the Tiny
Of course,
Desk.
come on now, I got a couple at home too.
All right, that's awesome, man. So we talked to a class earlier today, and you talked a lot about what the Tiny Desk stands for now. Mm-hmm. So even though there might be a stereotype about what kind of artist does Tiny Desk or what Tiny Desk is about, what are the values that animate the Tiny Desk concert now?
I think what has taken us to the point to where you guys know us is diversity. You know, this thing started as the brainchild of Bob Boilen and Stephen Thompson. And between the years of 2008 and let's call it 2013, it was Bob just kind of doing his thing. Bob and a handful of others just kind of doing their thing, putting on the artists that they loved, right? It wasn't until myself and a few others came along and just got curious and said, what if we just add the things that we love, mm-hmm. right? And, you know, at that time, there was a little bit of hip hop here and there, a little bit of R&B here and there. Felt safer though, you know, it felt safe at the time. So it wasn't until we really diversified the curation, not only the curation, but the team behind the curation, that's when the thing started to explode.
So, so Tiny Desk started in 2008?
Yeah.
And you joined in 2014?
Yeah, I produced my first Tiny Desk in 2014, yeah.
So what did you think of the Tiny Desk concerts when you first started working for them?
When I first started working for them, well, for a long time, it's funny because the earlier Tiny Desk I think we moved into our current building in 2012.
Right.
So between 2008, 2012, NPR Music, they were doing a Tiny Desk literally right next door to me when I was working in digital media. So my whole thing was, I was like, I want to do that. I know I can help them, but it just took a long time.
Right.
Right. So I think that what changed and what I was able to do is just kind of, again, add that flavor to it. Repeat the question one more time.
Well, I was just wondering what you thought of the Tiny Desk when you first started working.
Yeah, it was a brilliant idea, right? The idea is genius in a sense, and that idea has been duplicated, and that idea has inspired so much of what we see right now in terms of live music and live music platforms. Having someone in an office where the acoustics are terrible.
Oh, tell that story about behind the first Tiny Desk concert.
Well, yeah, Bob and Steven, they were at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, a music festival, and they saw an artist by the name of Laura Gibson. She was performing at a venue, which in essence was a bar, during March Madness. Laura Gibson is a very soft-spoken, quiet folk singer, and during her performance, nobody heard her, nobody was paying attention. And kind of as a joke, Bob and Steven approached her after the set and was kind of like, I know that was horrible for you. Why don't you come to the office and try this out later? And she took them up on the offer, and they had the foresight to record it. And if you watch that video, Bob said at the end, like, this may be the start of something, maybe not, but here goes. And that was almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
It's crazy.
So, and when did you take over as host?
I've been the host now for 2.5, 3 years. I think that once I got over it, like I said, I produced my first show in 2014. 2016, 2017, I became an official part of the Tiny Desk team. And from that point on, I started my career with Bob. In I started as an intern in 2000, summer of 2000. And my internship was for a startup show called All Songs Considered, which turned out to be probably one of the first music podcasts out there. It was an online radio show at the time. So I started my career with Bob, helping him with those first couple of All Songs Considered shows. I eventually, there was a producer role for All Songs that I didn't get. But I ended up getting hired in digital media. So I spent half of my career in digital media, all the while hoping that I get back to the music. So when I think about taking over as host, it's kind of full circle because I started with Bob. And once I started working with him, we kind of worked hand in hand. By the time he retired, we kind of both were steering the ship. So officially in 2022 is when I became the host.
So is this a lesson for students about having a goal and working towards it?
Yeah, but I don't recommend taking my long ass route.
Yeah, do it a little faster.
Yeah, we're talking 26 years. I don't recommend that, but yeah, if you got to go, stick to it.
Cool. So it seems like taking over an institution like Tiny Desk after somebody as sort of indelible as Bob Boilen, that would be difficult. So tell me a little bit about taking over Tiny Desk and putting your own stamp on a franchise that was associated with its founder for so long.
Mm-hmm. You know, Bob, there's a lot that I learned from him. We bumped heads a lot. You know, we didn't necessarily share the same music taste. He didn't understand my taste for a long time, and he was, if you knew Bob, he was very stern, and what he liked is what he liked. If he didn't like it, he probably told you he didn't like it. He was very, very direct in that sense. But we learned to get along, and we, you know, once he saw and understood the type of stuff that I was bringing to the table, whether he liked it or not, he had to respect it, you know?
Right.
So there was a mutual respect there. I think the transition has been interesting because it was, for a long time, Bob was the one to stop shop. Everything went through him. Now, by the time he left, everything kind of went through us. But once he retired, I think that the company had the mentality of no one person is going to control this big thing anymore. So for me, that's challenging, right? Because I think most of the public and a lot of people that I work with, my friends and colleagues, sort of assumed that I would take this thing over.
Right.
And, you know, I'm definitely a leader on the team, and I think that people understand that I hold a lot of the values that keep this thing special really close to me, just because I have such a long history with the platform. I would like to think that I know what makes this great, why it's great, how it got great, all those things. So, and I try to hold on to those things, but I'm also sure that I allow others to put their thing on the table. You know, early on in my career, I was very, very intimidated by the big titles, the big roles. You know, I was very uncomfortable in those rooms for a long time because I felt like I did not belong. But once you get to that place where you realize that like most of these titles are just titles, and you may know, if not just as much as they do, sometimes you know more than they do. So it just took a long time for me to, you know, build up the courage and the confidence. And once I got to that place, Bob understood that, and we were able to work together on this thing. So yeah, now I'm in a place where, you know, I work with a team that we're getting along really well, and I trust the young people on my team a lot. They are, you know, I see a lot of them in myself, or I see myself in a lot of them. And I try not to make them feel like, and I hope that they don't feel like their road is as tough as mine was in a certain way, especially when it comes to, you know, bringing your ideas to the table and speaking up on things.
And it sounds like because you had a hard time being heard when you were younger, that you're making sure that these young people don't have to go through that.
Yeah, I think that's important. A lot of young people come to me, maybe assuming I'm young. I ain't young, but I don't know.
To me, you're young.
Relatively, right? Yeah, I know what it was like to be in their position, young, just coming, working on this cool thing, but also this cool thing being right smack dab in the middle of corporate America. It's tricky, and you learn that fast. And sometimes these brilliant ideas, they aren't packaged in a suit. They don't have an Ivy League education. Right. You know, perspective is important. I think what separated me from a lot of my colleagues that I brought to the table is that I offered a unique perspective on what makes this company great. And I see a lot of that in a lot of young people that I work with.
All right. I'm going to play some clips from some notable Tiny Desks, and I'm gonna get this one out of the way quick.
Wow, this is a lot of people in a tiny office. I love it. I'm Taylor. Welcome to my Tiny Desk concert. What angle would I take if I were to write a song about this? And so I decided the most fun thing to do would be to imagine what my life would be like and what people would say about my life if I did all the same things, but if I was a man. I would be complex, I would be cool. They say I played the field before I found someone to commit to, and that would be okay for me to do. Every conquest I had made would make me more of a boss to you. I'd be a fearless leader, I'd be an alpha type. When everyone believes ya, what's that like? I'm so sick of running as fast as I can, wondering if I'd get there quicker if I was a man. And I'm so sick of them coming at me again, 'cause if I was a man, then I'd be the man, I'd be the man.
So if you were able to trace that shot all the way back to the back of that room, you would see me, because I was there for that one.
And I was sitting right behind Taylor. Those shelves, the black shelf, I sat right. I didn't see any of that show.
Wow. So tell me, what does it take to get a star as big as Taylor Swift to do Tiny Desk, and what's it like working with her?
Back then, I didn't produce that show. I didn't bring her in, but for someone like Taylor, she knew exactly what Tiny Desk was. And she knew the power and the impact of a great Tiny Desk. So that one was just a matter of timing. I think it was gonna happen at some point. And I told you earlier, I think that it's so weird because I thought that the whole Taylor thing and how friendly and nice and kind she was just like some bullshit. But it's not. Like, she's really that just go with the flow. Wow. Obviously, it's a big machine, right? She has a huge team, but like just thinking about some of the artists that weren't on Taylor's caliber, that weren't on her level in terms of impact, popularity, whatever have you, she was just go with the flow. Thinking about some of those other artists who aren't on her level, that are much harder to deal with, she was a breeze.
Well, see, now you're talking, man. I got to ask you, who's the saltiest artist you had to deal with?
God rest the dead, David Crosby was not a happy camper coming into our building. He didn't like the way that we did things. And I know we'll probably talk about how we do things in terms of the aesthetic, the technical of everything, the technical side of everything. It's not easy to perform music in a regular office with terrible acoustics, no in-ears, no wedges, none of the crutches and the bells and whistles that you normally lean on. In the David Crosby case, decades. And we tell him like, no, you gotta play by our rules. So he wasn't happy. But for the most part, it's usually a pleasant experience. I saw that you were playing Justin Timberlake earlier.
Yeah.
I can't watch that show. It's a great show. Don't get me wrong. I love Justin Timberlake. This is not about Justin Timberlake. But when you watch that show, there was just too much going on. There was a lot stuffed into the back of that office in that corner. And, you know, the best Tiny Desks work when they understand how we do it. They understand that the object here is it's intimacy. And you don't have to throw everything at us. I love when artists ask us, how many instruments can you fit behind the desk? Because I never answer that question. It's about what can you do with less? Like, less is more. So that show was a push and pull between myself and Justin's music director, Adam Blackstone. We rehearsed the night before, and it got to the point where there was a long, silent standoff because he wanted more instruments and more people. And I'm like, take away. So, you know, I think back on that show, and some of our audience even tell us, like, this feels like a Justin Timberlake show, doesn't quite feel like a Tiny Desk. Love JT, but when other artists watch that show, and the moment I hear, well, I saw Justin Timberlake, click.
Well, let's talk about the Tiny Desk.
Oh, wow.
Dude, it's actually a desk.
That's it.
On the 4th floor of NPR's HQ in DC, like, I don't know, 50 feet away, the culture desk is working, doing stories and stuff. And, you know, you might have Tower of Power or the Isley Brothers or, you know, Scarface playing.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the space and how it's sort of become iconic and how it helps you sort of realize what the Tiny Desk is about.
I mean, this is what makes the thing special. It forces every artist, no matter who you are, to rethink what they're used to doing. And all of them get nervous because, especially like the bigger you are. Now, if you're used to playing dive bars, if you're used to playing small clubs, sure, you know, that's why the jazz musicians, they just shine in our space. But if you're Ed Sheeran, for example, and you played for 250,000 people, and you go in this place, and the audience is standing 3 to 4 feet away from you, and you're locking eyes with them, and the eyes are like, what are you gonna do? You're just like naturally nervous, and that's part of the thing that I love about Tiny Desk, because you see your favorite artists as human beings, you know? You see that vulnerability right in real time, and they'll tell you, hey, I'm nervous. And it's like, whenever I hear that, just know I'm in the back But yeah, it's exactly what you think it is. And shout out to our brilliant videographers and our amazing audio team, because, you know, we have, what you don't see is, oh, I actually do. Well, no, you don't see. There's an audience mic up top, like right in the middle of the room. You have, you know, depending on if we have a choir, sometimes they have to get up in that drop ceiling and mic the drop ceiling. We do what we can in this small space, but every show is a challenge within itself. Every one.
And it's interesting. I mean, one of the things that I kind of noticed about the Tiny Desk, this is a bugaboo for me, is, you know, I'll see video, and when black folks are in video, if they're not lit right, we're like a shadow, right? We look like we made out of chocolate or something, you know? And black folks and people of color look great at the Tiny Desk.
Yeah.
And you told me there was a reason.
Yeah, especially over the past, I want to say 5 years, one of our amazing videographers, his name is Josh Bryant. He has literally revolutionized the way that our shows are colored now. We used to not have any lights in the room. Obviously, we didn't have experts on how we are viewed, how we're colored in post-production. And if you watch the shows between, you know, now and let's say 2020, he just like completely changed it. Like it's just a beautiful look now. Sometimes I'll go back because, you know, what you don't see, well, you can kind of see it in the back there. The whole space is naturally lit, just windows, only windows. So there's virtually no artificial light. So we always shoot in the daytime, and we're kind of at the mercy of the sun, whatever the sun is doing that day. But Josh has just been incredible in terms of the development and the color and how things are lit in the space.
Cool. Well, speaking of people of color and speaking of generations working together, let's check out this. If you guys have seen the film Sinners, this song is from that movie.
Well, somebody take me in your arms tonight. All right. Somebody take me in your arms tonight. Somebody take me in your arms tonight. I hope you can stand it.
So what I love about that is more than two generations of musicians working together. Buddy Guy, almost 90, right? Working with Miles, who never had a professional acting gig before Sinners. Tell me about how that came together and what it meant to have those two in the room.
Yeah, my colleague Mitra Arthur put that show together, and another beauty of what we've been able to do at Tiny Desk is bridge these generational gaps. In the same way you have Miles, you have Buddy. I think the way that we curate, one day you'll have a 50-year experienced icon at the space, and the next day you'll have some emerging artist, a young person who's been in the game for a couple of years. And so many people in our audience, they'll just click. If they don't know, they'll just click.
Right.
And they learn a lot. So when I see that, first of all, I was in awe watching that, just watching living, breathing history. Buddy Guy, who has been such an influence on modern American music since we can remember, you know, getting that recognition, not only from Sinners, but just like this run with Sinners, people learning about who Buddy Guy was. And I mean, you know the history. There was so much of that music, people in the blues who were ripped off by so many of our greats, you know, and not getting the due. So anytime we're able to put someone like that on the platform to further sort of make people aware of who he was and what he contributed to our culture is just it's a treat, it's a privilege. So I was staring in awe just watching him, and he was just so full of life. And like you said, he's only 90 years old, there's so much life. He just announced this like 25, 30 city tour. I was like, what are you doing? But he has it. It's in, and he just has that. It's incredible.
Go. All right, I want to let you guys know that at some point we're going to start taking questions from the crowd. So I want you guys to think about what you might want to ask Bobby. I mean, I'm getting the hard-hitting questions in here, but I'm sure you guys have even better things that you might be able to ask him. So think about what you might want to ask him, because eventually I'm going to come out there with the mic, and you'll get to interrogate the Tiny Desk mastermind here. So let me play one more. This was one you picked. So I'm going to play a little bit of this, and then I'm going to have you tell me why this was such an important concert for you.
And I decided to perform this record because I think there's been a lot of heightened emotions with the current state of our country. And I wrote this song specifically for Black women. I feel like as a dark-skinned woman, there's a very unique experience that I'm trying to internalize. And this is a song that I think other dark-skinned women will relate to. So I dedicate this to all the beautiful Black women in the room. This is Black Girl Memoir. Let's go.
Smoke some, don't forget the trauma. Get your bank and make your come away, away. Smoke some, don't forget the trauma. Get your bank and make your come away, away. Smoke some dope. When I get older, I want the money and power so I can make it go away. Make it go away. Smoke some dope. When I get older, I wanna move out the country so I can make it go away. Make it go away.
Now I gotta say, as a musician, one of the things I love about the Tiny Desk is that when you bring rappers on, they have to bring a band usually. And so we get to hear them in a completely different setting than sometimes we usually see them. But why'd you pick that?
I mean, it's special for a few reasons. A show like this we probably wouldn't have seen at the Tiny Desk a decade ago. I think that, number one, if you haven't seen that show, that's just like one piece of it, but she literally gives you, she has a moment in one of her songs where she says, "I'm everything." She literally gives you everything in that performance. All types of music, different cadence, everything. We were able to show off just how brilliant Doechii is as an MC and as an artist. And we've been watching Doechii for a long time. We were trying to get her for a long time. But timing is everything for Tiny Desk. We have to get them at the right time. And this is the right time because ultimately that show led to the Grammys and she won that year. So I think that it was just, again, with hip hop specifically, you have to, probably more than any other genre, you have to rethink how you're gonna play it. You have to get a band. And just the way it was arranged, I can tell she took that extremely serious. She hired this music director who we worked with for a long time, Slim Wave, and they just arranged something specifically for this. It just showed off an incredible range for an artist. And when hip hop is done and done the right way, that's what you get. That's one of our best shows, yeah, for sure.
And one of the things you've said is that, having an artist like T-Pain on, singing, so people could actually hear that he can actually blow, rather than the auto-tune stuff that he got famous for, was a big turning point.
Big time. The biggest, actually, for being honest. That was the shift. That was our moment. That was we have a Tiny Desk has a ride moment. And it was a huge moment for T-Pain too. Because when you think about the essence of Tiny Desk, I always point them to that show because it's about, again, taking what you're used to and reimagining it. Everybody knew T-Pain for auto-tune. And my colleague, Franny Kelly, challenged him to do it without it. Brought up the idea, like, what if you just came and sang without auto-tune? And when you watch that show again, just watching that vulnerability in real time and that the nerve, he said it a few times, like, I don't know what's gonna happen right now. I'm nervous, this is strange.
He said it right before it started.
Yeah, a few, she's like, I don't know what's about to happen, but that's the best of it. Like taking that away and just revealing the artistry. And obviously he had it. It was a revelation for a lot of people.
Now, the next artist I'm going to play is somebody who was kind of getting a little bit of a buzz when you guys featured him, but I think this really helped him blow up.
Y'all niggas got me hot. If you know this shit, sing along. Niggas got me hot. Hey, well that's exactly what the nigga came for. You taking shots from afar, I'ma meet you at your front door. So hard to be doing what you really meant for, beauty. But don't I make it look easy? Don't I make it look good? Hey, you drink up all my liquor, come on, what I'm supposed to do now? And you talking all that shit, come on, you gon' have to back it up. If I get too high now, sugar, come on, I might never come down, I might never come. You might not ever come down, nah, I wanna get down, help me out now. Nah, I wanna get down, help me out now. You might not ever come down, nah, I wanna get down. You might never.
So, okay, I may be biased because I'm a drummer, but I love seeing a drummer singing, rapping,
It's
doing
rare.
it
It's
all.
hard to do.
Yeah, it's very hard to do. So tell me a little bit about artists that seem to blow up after they do Tiny Desk.
Yeah, Anderson .Paak was definitely buzzing by the time he got to the Tiny Desk. I think we covered him at South by Southwest a few months prior. Probably covered him on the site a couple times, but I saw him twice in live concert, and I knew like you haven't even seen anything until you see him live. And they didn't even understand at that point the impact of Tiny Desk. They came in.
You mean the artists?
No, he did. They came in. They did it. They were down to do it. There was a little bit of back and forth, but they were in town doing a show. They had a show the night prior. They came in kind of hungover, super unassuming. Whatever. Let's just knock this out. Keep it moving. And yeah, it just exploded. That was again, if T-Pain was kind of like the precipice for like the success, this is probably like the next moment where I think the music industry noticed like, oh, Tiny Desk is a player. It's gonna sell tickets. It's gonna sell albums. And I think this is our third most viewed video on our YouTube page.
Wow.
And he said it's the most important thing they've done.
Wow. So the thing about success at NPR is that it brings a lot of people running. And a lot of people want to attach themselves to the brand, and they want to tell you how to do things. Tell me about safeguarding the brand from all the people who want to meddle with it, either in NPR or outside of NPR.
Well, I think about all of the platforms, some of my favorite music, whether it's music platforms, TV shows, radio shows, whatever, that have gone away. And I can usually point to the thing that caused the shift, like the jump the shark moment. I can usually spot it. And yeah, with massive success, everyone wants to come in and say, well, what if you tried this? Or what if you did this? And it's my job to sort of hold on to the guardrails as hard as I can to keep the thing, not lose the plot, basically. People want to take Tiny Desk and put it on a big stage. They clearly don't get why we are what we are. Corporate greed. There's a lot of, it's NPR, so people. You watch the news. It's not a lot of bags of money laying around.
Yeah. I heard something happened with funding from the government.
So when you look at what's happening in not just NPR, media at large, we actually have something that's thriving. And I get it. People want to figure out how to capitalize, but it's just a fine line and a slippery slope. Like sure, yes, we need to make money, but if the thing changes too much and we don't give our audience the credit that they deserve, like our audience is very smart, and I read the comments and they keep us accountable. Hey, that didn't feel like a Tiny Desk. Hey, what are y'all doing over here? Or NPR's gone pop. I read it all, you know what I mean? So, and I think about that. I lose sleep about it. And we have been around and doing this for nearly 20 years. So I do what I can in my position to say, hey, we can experiment, we can try things. I know money has to be made, this, that, and the third, but you can't mess with the thing too much because the audience knows when things are shifting. So we will continue to we will grow. We will, obviously do things that are on the cutting edge, but as long as I'm around, I think there are certain things that shouldn't be touched.
And I know NPR views the Tiny Desk as the gateway to a younger audience. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest challenges that NPR has is that the radio audience is aging, mm-hmm. And they're not on social media, they're not on the newer platforms that younger people are utilizing. It's almost like a bifurcated audience, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. So how does that work in terms, is the Tiny Desk a gateway drug for NPR?
Yes and no. I mean, there's still a huge sector of people who know what Tiny Desk is. They don't know what NPR is, and vice versa.
Right.
You know, and the company has done its best to try to bridge that gap. But our audience lives on YouTube. That's where they live. We did a thing pre-COVID where we would put the show on our website a week before. We would drop a Tiny Desk, and it would live exclusively on NPR.org a week before it goes to YouTube. And even then, they would just wait a week.
We couldn't
go
get
to
them to go to
YouTube.
NPR.org.
And they're trying to figure things out. I think that there's a lot of exciting things that are going on within the building. There's more people who are coming into the building that understand Tiny Desk. It's not enough to just say, oh, Tiny Desk is great because it's popular. No, it's so much more than that. Sure, it's popular, but we are also speaking directly to culture. So when you see someone like Doechii at the Tiny Desk singing a song about dark-skinned black women, there's millions of dark-skinned black women out there who feel recognized and seen, you know what I mean? And that is by design, you know what I mean?
And there's not too many corners of NPR where that happens.
Exactly. So I think that all of that is strategy, at least if you're asking me.
Yeah.
It's not an accident. So there are people in the building right now who understand that and are working with us. So I am excited about the future and how we collaborate, because for a very, very long time, Tiny Desk was just a little engine that could. We were on an island doing what we were doing. Nobody within the building was paying attention to it. But now that they are, there's just a lot more conversation, and I'm excited to figure out what we come up with.
Cool. And I imagine this is a question that a lot of people want to know. What is your white whale? Like the artist that you haven't been able to get yet? I mean, I told you earlier today, I would have loved to see Prince do one. Mm-hmm. That would have been amazing. But what's your white whale?
Yeah, and we were talking earlier. I told you we were very close to booking one of my white whales last year, which was D'Angelo. It was announced that he was going to be performing at the Roots Picnic in Philly last summer, and when I saw that, the hairs on my arm stood up.
Anytime anybody gets near DC,
they're close to me, expect a call. So I eventually, I have a mutual. D'Angelo and I actually have a mutual friend, and I hit him immediately. I was like, "So I heard you're in Philly," and he's like, "I know. D'Angelo loves what you're doing over there." And after a long back and forth, he said that D wants to do it. He literally said he wants to do it. But D'Angelo he was an anomaly. He was elusive. You didn't see him much. But we got to a point where I heard him say, "Yo, I want to do this." But then it went quiet. And that's when, obviously, the timelines all line up. That's when he got sick. But that was one. But also, I mean, I hit up Sade's team once every couple months.
Yeah.
Just letting you know, yo, I'm here. We're here. Whenever you want to pull up, pull up. You know.
She only does one album every 10 years or
Exactly.
something.
But best believe when she pops back out, I'm right there on the prowl. You know, Stevie Wonder is another.
Stevie. Stevie.
Bruce Springsteen will be in D.C. this summer, so we're chasing.
I see you heard it here first.
Nah, the thrill of the chase is for me, has become like, I've enjoyed it. I think when I get that no, I know it's just a not yet. I think the power of the platform, I'm always in the back of my mind like, you'll be here at one point.
Yeah,
you know what I
you'll
mean?
be here.
Because we always want to make it special. It isn't just, yes, I get a kick out of it, I get a thrill, but I listen to the audience. I know what they want. And I know with these moments, the most important thing, especially with someone like a D'Angelo, who wasn't on social media, wasn't really paying attention, I want them to feel that love. You know what I mean? That's really, really important for me. For the legacy artists who are completely detached from social media and the outside world, there's just so much love out there for them. So when you see a Charlie Wilson or a Scarface or Juvenile, and the love is just overwhelming, and it really, really lights a fire under their careers. You know what I mean? So I get a kick out of that.
Yeah, I can dig it. Okay, let's play another one that you picked.
Cuando ella baila, se le ve debajo esa mini falda. Quiero ver que rebote. Dum 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 bye, dum 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 y rompe. Dum 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 bye. Hoy te voy a hacer llorar. Si ella me mata no voy pa'l gulag. Hoy te voy a comer aunque sea gula. Ese culo es imposible disimular. Voy a abrir la caja bomboné. Ella lo prendió y me puso a volar. La noche como vos es espectacular. Ya no importa dónde, no importa el lugar. Y no voy a usarlo con donde. Baby, allá abajo hace calor. Yo traje el ventilador para darte la buena noche más linda. Y esto es algo superior. Hasta que se esconde el sol, nos usamos de bloqueador.
So, man, bass player's killing and glasses are killing. His
The
glasses are killing.
the glasses are killer, but also if you notice, the band, their shirts had their green cards on their shirts. And then some of them had it was just visually and from an audio standpoint, I'd put that show up against anything that we've done. And shout out to my colleague Anna Maria, who had the vision, because this band was a virtual unknown from Argentina at the time. And she came to me and was like, this is the one, you gotta check it out. And you know, the general rule of thumb for anybody who gets their, produces a show for Tiny Desk is like, you gotta be passionate about it. You can't just, oh, they're popular, oh, they got millions, doesn't really matter to us. Like, do you love this, and can they put on a great live performance? So she came and she's like, listen to this music, listen to the music. And I listened to the music, and honestly, I still didn't get it. But I trust Anna, and I know that she has she understands like what it takes. When she sent me rehearsal video, I finally got it, because the version of Catriel y Paco at the Tiny Desk and what you hear on record is kind of night and day. They shine best with live instruments. And it's gonna go down as one of our most important shows. A year later, they swept the Latin Grammys. They won a couple of American Grammys. They opened up for Kendrick Lamar. They even made the video is at like close to 50 million views. And they made a whole video about how Tiny Desk ruined their lives. That show, if you haven't seen that show, please watch that. It's one of the best shows we've ever done.
Amazing. All right, who's got questions? I'm gonna come out there and take some questions from the crowd. And my students know I will ask even if you don't put your hands up. So, oh, we got a question way in the back? Oh, you're gonna make me walk way back there? All right. There you go.
Hi.
So I know that Tiny Desk also like occasionally does a couple of like bringing in a couple of artists from musical theater into. So I remember seeing one like Hadestown, A Strange Loop, and Death Becomes Her recently. I was wondering about like what kind of like led you to do like more musical, like bringing performances from stage onto Tiny Desk, and what does that look like production wise?
What's your name?
Hannah.
Thanks for the question, Hannah. I take no credit for that. We have some theater geeks on our team who are always watching what's happening on Broadway and throughout the city with plays, and they're really passionate about theater. And we've had some amazing shows over the past few years. Before it was our former audio technical director, Josh Rogerson. Now Mitra Arthur, my colleague Mitra Arthur has taken the crown as our resident theater nerd. And she's always saying, okay, it's time for this and this time. So you will continue to see Broadway and theater consistently on the platform because they shine. I think that they're ultimate performers, right? They give you everything when they're behind there. So it just, in that intimate space, it just even feels bigger.
All right, another question? Again, way over on the other side. I'm gonna do you first. No, because we want you on the live stream. That's why we have the mic. Go ahead.
Okay, this might be a question everybody knows, but is there any rules about the space and the shelves and the desk, like what you can use as the band, like any limits?
So most of the instruments you see, we provide in-house. We have a pretty robust back line with pretty much anything you can play. As far as like all the little tchotchkes around, if you want to pick something up and play it, by all means, go for it. We've had artists play the desk before. Fred again played the desk. When we had Fred again, he was beating on the desk, and we had to, put a mic under the desk. I don't know if you know, some of you may know this, but all the little tchotchkes on the shelves, all of that stuff, most of that stuff is left by artists who play the Tiny Desk. And I believe Agent Zero was Adele. Adele left her water bottle when she came to the Tiny Desk. And I don't remember who said it, but somebody said, keep that. So I think that started it, but I mean, we have some strange stuff. That we have cups, tons of hats. Wiz Khalifa left a joint. We have straws. We have Leon Thomas left his cell phone recently. Someone left a bottle of Lexapro recently. They leave any and everything back there. They'll sign it, and so we're doing this little series called Tiny Objects, where we kind of give you the backstory on some of that stuff.
I have a feeling that Wiz Khalifa didn't leave that joint on purpose.
It's so crazy. Every time
I think he just forgot.
When you walk around the joint vicinity, it's so strong. It's like, how does this dude smoke this stuff? Because when you walk by that joint behind the desk, you still smell it. Anyway, let me stop. Go ahead.
Thanks for being here, Bobby.
Thank you, man. What's your name?
Nick. I work with him.
Nice to meet you, Nick.
Nice to meet you. Just a tiny question. What's your budget on a show?
Say it again?
What's your budget on a show? And
budget?
Yeah. And do you pay the artist?
Yes, yeah, great question. There's no money's exchanged for Tiny Desk concerts. They come on their own dime. It's a promotional tool, so that's the beauty. There's no money. They come and they foot the bill to get their artists out there. They pay the bands. We provide, like I said, backline, but there's no money.
Are you willing to talk about the YouTube?
There's no money.
There's no money for NPR.
There's no money for NPR.
The record companies and the artists get the money.
You talked about the constraints of the area with all of that. I remember one show, I think it was Jason Isbell, where somebody got pulled out of the audience and played with him. How spontaneous was that really, and that caused any problems for you, or how's that work?
That was spontaneous. We don't like surprises. But it worked out because it was just an acoustic guitar. We have had situations, I don't know if you saw Turnstile, But Turnstile is a band from Baltimore, punk band from Baltimore, and he decided to dive off of the desk and literally did athletic kid. One step off of the desk, dove into the crowd. That nearly killed me. Yeah, we don't like surprises, but we got very lucky there. Acoustic guitar, not a lot of moving parts, so we got lucky. But we always tell them, if you have anything planned, tell us before the show, or I will jump in and stop the whole thing. Yeah.
I have to say, when I saw Tower of Power, which is like a legacy band, the lead singer was standing on the desk, which I'd never seen
and that
before.
was probably, I think we had one more stand, like, there's a whole thing about standing on the desk. And me, I draw a hard line, no standing on the desk, because I've been behind that desk. It's not that sturdy. And if it gives in, then who's the liability on? I ain't paying the bill, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Hi.
What's your name?
I'm Allie.
Hi, Allie.
So I love Tiny Desk, and I know that you guys have had like a ton of different music genres. We talked about theater. I know you have like rap, pop. You even had K-pop recently, which is really cool.
Stay tuned.
Oh, don't tell me. Okay. Is there any genre that you would like to see more in the future? And just tell me about that.
You know, I talked about this last year about like what we haven't done. I think we pretty much covered most stuff, unless it's like just weird stuff that people are doing, and there's a lot of that. But I don't think, and I still think it's the case, but we do have a few shows coming up where maybe that'll change, but we haven't quite nailed country the way that
I was going to ask about that, yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the country audience that doesn't connect, because we've had some great country music stars at the desk, but they don't do the numbers that I would expect. So that's still a challenge that we're trying to nail. Like, how can we get this to crack? And I don't know if it's just country they don't rock with us or what. But yeah, that's one that I always think about. Thank you.
Hello. First, thank you for coming to Lexington.
Thank you, man. What's your name?
I'm Owen.
What's up, Owen?
Yeah. So I really appreciate your show and just live performance in general, because for me, it's like changed my experience and appreciation for certain artists. And I was wondering if any artists that you brought on, like seeing them live in that limited setting, like changed your perspective on them. And if that's too hard to answer, are there any artists you want me to walk away with and put me on?
My man, shoot this shot. I like that. The last video we showed, shocked. I was shocked by what I saw. I did not expect that. We have had a few that I knew were good, but I saw great. I think when we had Sam Smith last year with this big choir, that blew me away. There's a lot of them that just really, really shocked me. For the most part, by the time they get to us, the team, we know that they're going to be able to bring it. But I don't know, Owen. I appreciate you saying what you said, because it's important, thinking about what's happening with technology and with AI. I think live music is going to be a really important factor when we think about what's going to happen with music over these next few years. And I think that distinction that you have when you watch a Tiny Desk and when you're watching a live performance, we have to do what we can to keep this alive, because who knows what's going to happen. I mean, it's happening now. And I know this isn't the question you asked, but like, we have AI artists topping the charts. More power to you, but we have to keep the emotion in a lot of these performances. And I think you can only truly get that through the live experience. But yeah, a lot of them shocked me, man.
Oh, and I
Also,
feel like you got a future in radio, man. With that
Yeah,
voice.
you got a great
I like
voice.
that
But also, I don't know if you know, Owen, but we do a contest every year. I don't know if you're familiar with the Tiny Desk contest, but you should get your band together and officially shoot your shot.
There you go. I mean, there were 6,000 entries, but
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yes. Oh, okay. One of my students. All right. Woo! Somebody knows how to get extra credit.
Hi, how are are you?
Hey, how you doing? What's your name?
I'm Percy.
What's up, Percy?
So I was kind of curious about what is the trial and error process with an artist that maybe isn't doing as well in our genre, and kind of what that looks like to ensure it'll do better in the future.
When you say trial and error, you mean in our space or?
Well, I don't know, you said that you wanted to maybe see country in the future, but it hasn't been doing well, and then
Okay.
kind of alter, so I'm kind of curious what that looks like.
We're gonna keep chipping away. I think we do have some really amazing country artists on our calendar that we're gonna have soon, and we'll start thinking about different ways how we maybe promote them. We're really trying to figure it out. I mean, I think the country audience is it's a unique space, and we don't have a lot of country experts on the team. I think Ann Powers is in Nashville, so she isn't able to bring a lot of the artists that she would want to, or just the sheer volume. But we'll keep chipping away. I think that our platform is in a place where it's still wildly popular. The labels want to get them on. So with country specifically, we're just going to keep inviting them. We won't alienate it because there's a lot of great country music out there, and there's an audience. I think the challenge is getting them over to us.
Makes sense. Anybody else?
Hey, I just want to thank you first for coming.
Thanks, man. What's your name?
I'm Edison.
What's up, Edison?
So one of my favorite Tiny Desk is the Action Bronson Tiny Desk, but it's not on streaming. It's only on YouTube. I probably listen to it like once a week.
It is on vinyl, though.
It is on vinyl. I have vinyl. But I don't have a record player in my car. What does the process look like for getting a great Tiny Desk to streaming? Is that a difficult process? Do you have to work with the artists? What does that look like?
It's become easier, and you're going to start seeing more Tiny Desk concerts on streaming platforms soon. The process is beginning to smooth out in terms of like transitioning over from YouTube to streaming. We do have a few of them. My favorite example of a show that's on streaming is Leon Thomas. His Tiny Desk is on streaming, and not only that, us putting his show on DSPs we got our first Grammy nomination this past year for that show. So we definitely are leaning more into that. So you'll see more Tiny Desk concerts streaming and on vinyl for sure.
All right. I think I'm going to play.
We have one right
artist.
up here, Eric.
What's that? Oh, yeah. We'll get to you in just a second. I'm going to play another artist because you talked about this guy. Let's hear a little bit of Daniel.
Why don't you answer my calls no more? Is it something that I said? I'm tired of checking my telephone. You're running through my head. We used to stay up for hours, many nights, fussing and fighting, fucking and lying. Nights in Miami, tears at the Grammys. I just wanna thank you for being my mirror, showing me myself. Just wanna thank you. You help me see clearer like nobody else.
So talk a little bit about why that one was so special.
It's hard to watch that show without getting emotional. Okay, so that show was interesting for a few reasons. Number one, that was his second Tiny Desk. I brought him in 2018, and it's still probably top 10 most viewed Tiny Desks that we've done on YouTube. So when I was approached for him to come back, I was off that. I was like, no way, we cannot mess with this one. We can't. The first one was just too good. And the general rule of thumb, like I said, we don't have many repeat guests, but if you do come back, you have to take whatever you did the first time and it has to be completely different. So I kind of knew in my head that we weren't going to do it again, but one of the perks of working, at the Tiny Desk is that we get music really, really early, like so many early albums. So they sent this album that he put out last year called Son of Spurgey. They sent it to me, and it eventually became my favorite album of last year. And so when we talked about the idea, so I was like, okay, you got me, the album's good. Okay, so what's the thought? Because I see it going this way if we were to approach it. And it just so happens our visions were in lockstep. He wanted to bring a choir. I wanted him to bring a choir. And we got that Daniel's a once in a generation talent. He's just unbelievable. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hi, Bobby. I'm Sal.
Sal, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm curious, you mentioned that by the time the artists get to the desk, they're ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide who's ready and who needs it and kind of manage the Tiny Desk stamp of approval?
Yeah, I think one of the rules is that we like to go out and watch these artists live before they come into the space. Either, the preference is to actually go and see them live when they come to the DC area, or, YouTube has everything. So generally, I don't like to have an artist, if you think about hip hop specifically, I don't want them to come in and having that first live band experience with us. We want them to be seasoned because you can't hide behind anything in our space. So our team excels at just doing that research to be sure that they are ready. Because if you aren't ready, you will be exposed in our space. And that's something we never want. Our platform is to celebrate these artists. And, social media can be a nasty place. And if somebody messes up or something, they'll just ride it. And we're not in that business. We want them to excel. So that's why it takes anywhere between 2, 3, 4 months of planning before they get to the Tiny Desk. So they have time to rehearse, rearrange, so that we have time to explain to them, like, listen, I know what you think this may be, but it is even harder than that. So we do a great job at setting that table. So by the time they get in, they're comfortable. Even the day of, it's about a 2 to 3 hour commitment. When they get in, we give them time to run sound check behind the desk. We give them the opportunity to play it one time all the way through before they perform it live. So, after that, it's like, it's on you. But they have a decent amount of time. Very rare occasions we'll allow a band to come in the night before and rehearse. But you have to be someone we really love. But yeah, we make sure they're comfortable before they get there. Hi.
Hi, I'm Melanie.
Melanie?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. My wife.
Oh, cool. I was just wondering how, I'm familiar with Tiny Desk, but I'm not too familiar with you and your career. I'm just wondering how you broke into the music space and how you made that jump from, you said, digital media to the NPR Tiny Desk. And, how did you find that passion for music? Because I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I love the rap scene there. It's something that I miss every single day. So I'm just wondering what took you from that space going into the music space to make it. Where did that passion come from?
Well, music found me. I knew, as long as I can remember, I knew it had to be music for me. It just took a long time. You know what I mean? I knew even the 10 years at NPR working in the digital media space, the other half of my career, I'm a DJ. So I started DJing when I was in high school. Before that, my very first job was at a record store. So I knew at some point somebody was gonna let me do something in music, So it really found me. I've had that passion. I'm not good at much else, you know what I mean? Tried sports, sucked at it, tried a bunch of different things. I'm not, it was always music for me. Good for you in the A. How long have you been here?
This is my first year.
Oh, you missing Atlanta.
I really, really do miss it. I'm missing sorry, this is a complete rant.
No, let's keep going. They're not here.
I got like a wonderful opportunity to go abroad, but at the same time, Don Tolliver's going on tour, and I'm so sad that I.
We're trying to figure Don out. We're really trying to figure it out.
And Cali too is, I think.
That's another story.
I'm very sad to be missing out,
But yeah, I think the breaking into the music industry, I don't think I did that. I was more so chipping away, like let me in, let me in. So the people who let me in didn't have much of a choice at a certain point. I will say this though, I had a guy, and this is something that has helped me, and it's even speaking to Eric. During COVID, when things were shut down, I was at a really lots of uncertainty in terms of my career. I didn't know what was going to happen. When we were forced inside for COVID, we had about 16 shows in the can, and I thought I was out of a job once those shows came out. Luckily, we didn't, and we got to do the Tiny Desk home concerts, but I was really, really searching for what my next move would be. And Eric, he was really important. He was a voice of guidance and a lot of advice. He became my mentor during that time. So that Eric, along with a guy named Malik Abdullah, who was my former supervisor, he was the one who actually, I worked for him, but he forced me out of his department because he told me like I no longer belonged there because I was kind of moonlighting. I would produce these massive shows for Tiny Desk and then just go back and cut audio for the website. So he was between Eric and a few other mentors in my life, but those two specifically, and my former supervisor, they forced me out. They saw the thing that I didn't see in myself. He saw in me, and I eventually made it over to the music department.
Hi, I'm Abby. It's
What's up, Abby? Nice to meet you.
I was just wondering, what's your favorite, like, smaller artist who didn't get a lot of views that you personally really loved and think, like, deserve more that we should, like, check out?
Check out Nick Hakim's Tiny Desk. That's the one. He's from DC. It did well, but it should be the most viewed show. It's just that good. And it's the reason I love it so much because I'm a big fan of his music. His music is highly produced. A lot of reverb, a lot of effects, a lot of things going on when you listen to his music. And somehow, some way, he was able to transfer that feeling into our space and really didn't have all of the bells and whistles that you hear in the recorded version. But yeah, Nick Hakim's show is one of my favorites from like one of the emerging artists. I love him. Thanks, Adam.
Okay, you'll be the last one because we're running out of time.
Make it good, man. No pressure.
I'm Ash.
What's up, Ash?
Great to hear from you. This is a great talk. I only came here because she told me about it. So
keep her as a friend.
It's great to hear you talk about music with like the clear passion you have for it. I wonder, what are your thoughts on the importance of music, like the effect it can have on people, and how does that sort of tie into your thinking and decision making on Tiny Desk?
Like I told her, like music is everything. It's hard to, anybody who knows me, they know I don't do anything without music. It's just a thing. Even back to when I was in grade school, the thing that I would do every morning, I would get on the bus, I would take my Walkman. A Walkman, here we go, to explain it. A Walkman is a cassette player. You would put the cassette in the thing, and you would put the headphones on. You would play the
See,
music.
a cassette is...
See a cassette. Anyway, I would get on the bus. I would blast my Walkman, my cassette player, as loud as I could so that other people would hear it on the bus just so they can ask me what I was listening to. Music was just always the thing for me. And most of us, I would hope, if you don't listen to music, but that's just the thing. You know, I'm getting a little older, you know what I mean? So now I love the effect that music has on like transporting me back to some of my favorite times in my life. It takes you back to that place and also that feeling that you had. Music is just magic like that, where you can be transported 10, 20, 30 years in the past. Not in y'all cases, but in my case, I can be transported just to that feeling. And I don't know what I would do without it. You know what I mean? You can take everything. You can take my eyesight. You can take a lot of things from me. Do not take away my hearing, because I would lose my mind. That's just always been the thing. And I think that now, in this world that we're in right now, where everybody's divided, as a DJ, when I'm playing a song that everybody loves, it doesn't matter what lifestyle, it doesn't matter what socioeconomic background, it doesn't matter what political party. If that song got y'all on the dance floor, we're all coming together for it. So I don't know, that's just, music is just everything to me, man.
All right. And I just want to say, Bobby, the minute anybody talks to you, they can tell how passionate you are and how talented you are. So all you really needed was somebody to say, go get it, man. and then you went and got it. So I want to play one more for you, even though we're at time and we should probably stop, but we're not gonna, because we got to play tribute to the Queen. All right, tell the story about why she's got two mics.
God bless our engineer. She was moving a lot, right? And he got brave and said, I need you to stop moving so much. And Shaka kind of, she looked around and was like, who is this guy again? You know what I mean? And she said, no. She's like, you're going to set up another mic for me so I can move from one to the next. I think, you know, I don't know how you top that. It's just like she set such a bar. And it's just like when you hear that, it's just like, that really happened. That's her voice. Those mics are on. And just the tiniest woman with that big old voice. That's one of my favorite shows.
Well, you're one of my favorite people. Thank you so much for coming. Everybody,
thank you, brother.
Give a hand. Bobby Carter. And if you get a chance, hang out for the screening of Little Woman, because we went over and I want them to have a crowd. So thanks, everybody.